Hello and welcome to The Final Word. A rather longer one than usual. I'm talking with Richard Arthur, who is running the Solution Enablement in the office of the CTO at HP in the Comms and Media Division. Richard, welcome. We've known each other a long time now. Good to see you again.
Thank you very much, Martin.
We've just sat in the background throughout the day we've had here doing SDN and NVF panels and talking to a lot of industry luminaries about what's going on. I want to broaden it a bit at the beginning and then hone it down a little bit further. Can we talk first of all, you've got your finger on the pulse of what's happening. What are the trends you see at the moment in the telecoms industry generally?
Sure, Martin. Yeah, we've been looking very closely at the telecom trends and trying to figure out where telecom operators are going to go in the future. Because it's very clear right now that the old telecom business model is falling off a cliff. Basically, nobody wants voice minutes anymore. Voice is becoming a feature now. You just pay a little bit more for your voice, or it's thrown in for free if you buy the right service. So in developed markets, revenues are declining now in telecom operators. In developing markets, now it's more the lower revenue generating customers are coming on, so you're not even seeing the growth in developing markets anymore. So right now, it's not looking extremely positive.
Okay, that's the downside. The corollary is there will and must be an upside. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, so when we look at the telecom market, we think that the telecom operators have a huge amount of assets that they can make use of going forward. So we see really that the market breaking down into three major organization or business models, and these will be done in different ways depending on the local conditions. But three main ways. There will always be a need for a network and service provider. Someone who delivers the connectivity, someone who's very good at that with a low cost base, low operational base, partnering where necessary for end-to-end connectivity. But then we see a layer on top of that, which is an information and financial capability, because telecom operators have this incredible information about their customers. They know where they are, they know their interests, they know what they're doing. Maybe some of these things should be kept anonymous, but they have this information. And they also have the financial linkage, because they have the billing capability with customers. So they can be a financial services provider, especially we see that in developing markets. And then thirdly, we see all telecom operators looking today at how they can be new value-added service providers. How can they get a piece of all this action that over-the-top providers are getting, people like Google and Amazon and so on? Which services in this new digital economy make sense for them in their local market? Cloud, M2M, as we mentioned, financial services, rich content, being a content provider. There's a whole host of these kinds of services which telecom operators are exploring.
Okay, that's the overall trends. Let's go back to the area we've been looking at earlier today. SDN, NFV, cloud and big data. And let's take them in that order. What are the trends? What are you seeing happening in relation to SDN and NFV?
Sure. Well, related to those three groupings that I just highlighted, obviously the network and service connectivity provider has to take advantage of NFV and SDN. This is going to allow them to be much lower cost base, because I think that's the problem in telecom today, is that the cost bases are very high. Years and years of infrastructure has been put in place, and now we need to think about how to move that onto standard industry platforms that we see in NFV. Now we need to think about how to automate all those processes, and that's where SDN really comes in. So that can help that layer to be lower cost, more efficient, more flexible, more agile. And then when you look at cloud, so moving on to cloud,
sure.
This is where telecom operators have an opportunity in this new digital economy to be a cloud provider, both for the consumer, personal cloud, and for the enterprise cloud, enterprise level or enterprise class cloud services. We think that's very relevant in some markets. I think it's going to be tough in some markets where some of the players, Amazon, HP as well, as a cloud provider, they have a dominant position. But if you look at some of the developing markets, for example, the brand recognition, especially on the enterprise that the telco brings, gives them a huge opportunity.
Yeah. Last but by no means least, which we've been talking about for longer now, the concept of big data. We know, as you've already said, there's a huge amount of information out there about customers, their habits, their spending patterns, and all the rest of it. But traditionally, it's been siloed, and it's been almost impossible to get information from one into another and to tunnel through it. That's changing. Where are we at with big data, and how important do you think it's going to be going forward?
Yeah, big data is very relevant for the telecom operators for multiple reasons. I think that they have an opportunity to deliver much better customer experience through their big data. So really understanding what a customer's interests are, what they're doing. For example, we're working with a local operator in the EMEA region in Monaco Telecom, and they've shown how their customer call center can, when a customer calls in with a problem, using a big data approach, they can see, okay, I've got my customer here. I can see that they're having issues, let's say, with their email. What are other customers who have that kind of smartphone having? What are other customers who are in that part of the network having? And they can see that all in real time. I mean, it's incredibly powerful. So better customer experience, but also operators can monetize that data. So they can use it themselves for targeted promotions, next best offer, we call that. Customers using all these things, has these interests, what can we propose?
Sure.
But also they can share that data with partners, with the over-the-top providers. So we've got customers today who are doing that with our tools. They're sharing their anonymized data so that people might buy that to know, for example, when there's someone in a certain area with a certain need, how can they make a targeted promotion at that customer? So those are some of the key ways we're seeing today. Maybe the third one to highlight is also the network optimization. Mm-hmm. So knowing more about how your infrastructure is being used, how customers are, which revenue generating services are customers using the infrastructure for. And then you can tune your network infrastructure accordingly.
Great stuff. Interesting as well. Richard Arthur, thank you.
Thank you, Martin.